A loud crash echoed through the Seoul fashion studio. A tray of pins scattered across the floor, models gasping as a cup of hot coffee splashed over a man's expensive white suit. Ah, Jesus! Adaora froze, eyes wide. The cup was still trembling in her hand. She looked up and met his gaze, sharp, golden brown eyes that belonged on a billboard, not in front of her. The man blinked, stunned but strangely calm. You. I'm so sorry. Adaora stammered, grabbing tissue, trying to wipe his jacket. I didn't see. I thought you were. Oh my God! The studio fell silent. Every intern stopped breathing. The tall man, now half-soaked, tilted his head slightly, a small smirk appearing at the corner of his mouth. You thought I was what? Adaora's voice shook. A mannequin. For a moment, even he couldn't help but laugh, low, soft, amused. A mannequin? Yes, sir. I mean, you just stood there looking perfect, I thought. The laughter spread around the room, breaking the tension. But the creative director's glare cut through it. Miss Adaora, out, now. Her throat tightened. Please, Ma, it was a mistake. Out. You just poured coffee on our sponsor's son. Adaora froze again. Sponsor's son? The man wiped his sleeve gently and turned toward the director. It's fine. Really. I'm not burned. But, Ji-ho. I said it's fine. His tone was calm, commanding, the kind that made people obey. He turned back to Adaora, his smirk fading into something more curious. You're new. Yes, she whispered. Then maybe we'll see each other again. And just like that, he walked away, leaving her heart racing and her entire career possibly over before it began. 2 weeks earlier, Adaora had been packing her suitcase in a one-room apartment in Lagos. She'd saved every naira from part-time jobs, sold her phone, even borrowed from her cousin, just to buy that one-way ticket to Seoul. She was 24, stubborn, and had one dream: to design fashion that fused African boldness with Korean minimalism. Her mother had cried at the airport. Seoul is far, Ada. You don't even know anyone there. Mama, Adaora had said, holding her mother's hands. I'll be fine. I need to try. And she did try. She landed in Seoul with hope in her chest and a small bag of Ankara fabric. But the city didn't smile back. Her first landlord refused to rent to foreigners. Her first job interview was canceled when they realized she was black. And yet, she kept going, sketching at night, studying Korean on YouTube, working in a tiny cafe where the owner underpaid her but let her stay late to design. Then, one lucky day, a call came from Seoul Atelier, one of Korea's top fashion houses. We saw your sketches online, the recruiter said. We'd like to test you as an intern. That test, unfortunately, ended with coffee all over Ji-ho's white suit. That night, Adaora lay in her tiny room, staring at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed, a text from her only Nigerian friend in Korea, Chioma. Babe, how was your first day? I poured coffee on my boss's son. Jesus! Pack your bag now. Adaora groaned, typing back. It's not funny. I think I'm finished. Relax, ego clear. Maybe he'll forget you. But Ji-ho didn't forget. The next morning, Adaora arrived at the studio early to apologize again, only to find a note on her desk. Come to rooftop. 10 a.m. Ji-ho. Her heart almost dropped into her shoes. She climbed the stairs, each step echoing louder than the last. He was there, leaning against the railing, sunlight catching the edge of his sharp jawline. No bodyguards, no arrogance, just calm confidence. You really came, he said. I came to apologize, Adaora said quickly. I didn't know who you were, I swear. He chuckled. Everyone always knows who I am. Except you. I didn't mean to. Stop apologizing, he interrupted softly. It's boring. She blinked, unsure if he was mocking her. He smiled faintly. I like people who don't know who I am. It's refreshing. Adaora's voice softened. So you're not mad? Not at all. Actually, he paused, studying her. Where are you from? Nigeria. He nodded slowly. I've never met anyone from there. You speak differently. Adaora smiled a little. You mean louder? He laughed. No, braver. That single word stayed in her heart long after he left. Over the next few weeks, their paths kept crossing. Jiho would stop by the studio when Adaora worked late, pretending to check on new designs. Sometimes he'd bring her coffee, sometimes just silence. They started talking about fashion, about family, about everything. You're lucky, Adaora said one evening. You have everything. Fame, money, a perfect face. Perfect, he repeated quietly. You think that's lucky? She frowned. Isn't it? He looked away, voice low. When everyone thinks you're perfect, you can't make mistakes. You can't even be yourself. Adaora didn't know what to say. She only understood the loneliness in his eyes. It looked like her own. One evening, as they walked through Myeongdong, Jiho stopped at a street stall selling spicy tteokbokki. Try it, he said, handing her a stick. She took a bite and coughed instantly. Huh, it's fire. You people want to kill me. He laughed so hard he bent over. You said you like spice. This one is not spice, it's warfare. For the first time in months, Adaora laughed until her stomach hurt. And Jiho laughed with her, like a man who hadn't been allowed to laugh in years. But life has a way of changing just when the heart starts to feel safe. The next morning, Adaora arrived at the studio and noticed whispers everywhere. Screens lit up with the same breaking news headline. Golden boy Jiho seen with unknown black woman at Myeongdong street stall. Adaora's phone buzzed nonstop. Comments, tweets, pictures. Some called her beautiful. Others called her names that burned her soul. Her manager called her into the office. Adaora, this is bad. You have to stay low. No talking to reporters. I didn't do anything wrong. I know, her manager whispered, but you're foreign. They'll blame you anyway. Adaora walked out, chest tight. Outside, Jiho stood waiting. Cameras flashed from across the street. He looked at her and whispered, Don't say anything. I'll handle it. But she saw the fear in his eyes, not for her, but for what loving her might cost him. If you're still watching this story right now, take a second to subscribe and like this video. It helps our channel grow and keeps stories like this alive. Drop a comment below. Would you choose love if the world turned against you? Because for Adaora, that question was about to become painfully real. Her heart sank. She knew the world wouldn't see her as the ambitious Nigerian designer who dared to chase a dream in Seoul. They'd see her as a scandal. Chioma, she whispered, dialing her friend's number. Ada, I saw. Oh my God, are you okay? I don't know. I don't even know how to be okay. Breathe, babe. It's chaos now, but people will calm down, right? Adaora hung up, staring at her reflection in the studio glass. Sweat ran down her spine. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from Jiho. Don't call me. I'll find you. Her pulse jumped. She didn't understand, but her gut told her he was somewhere near, watching, waiting. Later that evening, the sound of her own footsteps echoed as she exited the studio. Jiho appeared from the shadows of the alley, his black coat blending with the night. You shouldn't be out here alone, he said softly. I'm not afraid of the cold, she muttered. Her voice shook more than she wanted. I mean of them. His gaze swept the distant flashing lights from cameras and smartphones. She looked away. I'm afraid of nothing. He sighed. You're stronger than me. Then why are you hiding? Jiho's silence hit her harder than the cold. Finally, he whispered, because if anyone finds out I care about you, they'll ruin everything I have. My family, my life, my freedom. Adaora swallowed hard. Then maybe you don't deserve me. No, his voice broke slightly. I deserve you, but I might never get the chance. She wanted to scream, to grab him and say, I don't care what they say. I'll stand with you. But she only nodded and walked away, tears burning her eyes. The next morning, her internship was officially suspended for review. The creative director avoided her, the other interns whispered, and the atelier's walls seemed to close in. But Adaora refused to be broken. She returned to her tiny basement studio with Chioma's help, determined to continue creating. Scraps of fabric, borrowed sewing machines, and her old encre sketches became the foundation for a collection she would call Two Worlds, One Fabric. She worked through nights, music thumping softly in the background, her fingers bleeding from needle pricks. Each stitch was a rebellion, each pattern a statement. I exist. I matter. And Jiho, he was always on her mind. Not as a distraction, but as a shadow she couldn't shake. A promise of something forbidden, yet irresistible. Then came the betrayal. A co-worker from the atelier, jealous of her talent, stole her sketches and sold them to a rival fashion brand. Adaora walked into the studio one morning, heart pounding, only to see her designs displayed in a magazine under someone else's name. No, no, this can't be, she whispered. Her phone buzzed violently, notifications, tags, mentions, some congratulatory, some venomous. Her hands trembled. She was close to collapsing when Jiho appeared at the entrance, a storm in his eyes. They used your work, he said, voice low, almost growling. I know, Adaora hissed through clenched teeth. And now they'll own me. Jiho stepped closer, almost touching her arm. No, I'll fix this. I promise. She turned on him, fury and hurt mixing. You don't get it. You're one of them. You're the heir to the empire that's using me. You think your words can fix this? You think your presence makes this right? He flinched, but he didn't step back. I don't know, but I will do whatever it takes. I can't watch them hurt you like this. Her chest tightened. Then maybe you should stay out of my life. Days passed. Jiho went silent in public, but secretly he maneuvered behind the scenes, confronting his father, leaking hints about the plagiarism to journalists, quietly building momentum to defend Adaora. Meanwhile, Adaora's collection started attracting attention online, even without her name attached. Her designs spoke for themselves, bold, unapologetic, Afro-Korean fusion, beautiful and impossible to ignore. But the world didn't care about the beauty. They cared about the scandal. On the night of the charity gala, where her designs were being presented under a false name, Adaora walked in with Chioma beside her, every step a test of courage. She saw the stage, lights blinding, models wearing her creations, her story being told by someone else. Her chest tightened, and for a second she froze. Then Jiho appeared in the crowd, front row, sharp suit, eyes fixed on her. When the lights rose for the main presentation, he stood abruptly, waving his hand. The cameras swiveled toward him. These designs belong to Adaora Okizi, he shouted, voice echoing through the hall. Shock rippled across the audience. Gasps. Photographers clicked relentlessly. Security moved toward him, but his stance was immovable. Adaora's heart leapt. She wanted to rush to him, to hug him, to thank him, to scream with joy, but the eyes of the crowd were on her. On her. Later that night, they met in the quiet of the studio's rooftop, the city lights sprawling below them. Adaora's hands trembled, and she could barely speak. You just ruined everything, she whispered. No, Jiho said, voice soft but steady. I risked everything for you. I can't accept that, she said, stepping back. Your family, your empire, everything you've built. I'll lose it all, he admitted, for a chance to be with you. But you're the one I'm willing to fight for, even if you never want me to. She closed her eyes, the wind whipping around them, the city alive with distant sounds. Her lips trembled, and she pressed them together to stop from crying. She faltered, then shook her head. I can't. Not yet. He nodded, eyes glistening. I understand, but I'll wait. Always. And as she turned away, leaving him on that rooftop, a part of her heart stayed behind. The city stretched endlessly, lights flickering like the fragile hope she carried. Hope that maybe, someday, love could survive even the harshest storms. The night was cold and Seoul's neon lights reflected off the wet streets as Adaora stood outside the runway building. Her hands gripped her portfolio tightly. Every design she had poured her soul into, every sleepless night, every tear and stitch, it was all here. But the gala tonight had turned into a trap. Her designs had been used without permission, her name nowhere to be seen, and her heart was heavy with betrayal. Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through the noise behind her. "You didn't run," Jiho said, stepping from the shadows, his expression unreadable. "I don't know if I can anymore," Adaora admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Everywhere I turn, it's like they're trying to crush me." He reached for her hand, but she pulled back instinctively. "And you? Will you be crushed too? Because if you stay with me, they'll destroy you." "I've already lost a part of myself," she said, her voice breaking. "If I lose you too." Jiho's eyes softened. "Then we fight. Together." Before she could respond, the lights in the building flickered. Security guards emerged, stopping them. Her designs were on the stage, models wearing them proudly but credited to someone else. Jiho stepped forward, raising his voice. "These designs belong to Adaora Okizi. Every stitch, every pattern, hers." Gasps filled the hall. Cameras flashed. The crowd murmured in shock. Security moved toward him, but he held his ground, a defiant figure against the world. Adaora's chest tightened. Part of her wanted to run to him, embrace him and scream with relief. But the other part of her, the part that had learned to survive in this foreign city, knew this was only temporary. The fight wasn't over, and their love would never be simple. Later, on the quiet rooftop, they faced each other one last time before the night ended. Her eyes glistened with tears. "I can't live in your world," she whispered. "The money, the fame, the expectations. I came here chasing a dream, not a life I can't belong to." Jiho swallowed hard. "Then go. But know this. Wherever you are, you've changed me. You've made me see what's real. And I'll never forget you." She stepped back, the wind catching her scarf. "And you've changed me too. But maybe some loves are meant to stay in the heart, not the world." He reached out one last time, fingers brushing hers. "Adaora." "I have to go," she said, and turned, walking into the night alone, leaving him behind. The city pulsed around them, a living testament to dreams, love, and loss. She held her portfolio close, the night air cold against her cheeks, but her heart was alive, wiser, stronger, and filled with the bittersweet memory of a love that had changed her forever. If Adaora's journey touched your heart, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment below. Tell us, would you risk everything for a love that the world doesn't approve of? Because sometimes the greatest loves are the ones we carry quietly in our hearts.